Welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast. Brian Siegler, it is late on a Saturday night, my friend. How are you, sir?
I'm good, buddy. Watching Michigan close this one out against the Dub.
Count that as
Been
a dub
been a
for us.
good day for college football. Been a few upsets, a few close calls.
It has. Ohio State goes down to Oregon without Kayvon Thibodeau. That was a little bit shocking. The old BC quarterback, Anthony Brown, leads them to victory. Brian, is Texas back?
No, sir. No, they are not.
Annihilated in Fayetteville by Arkansas. We got that one wrong.
Yeah, we did.
Completely wrong.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Arkansas's defense showed the hell up. Good
Yes,
for
they
them.
did. You know who else showed the hell up and almost pulled out a massive upset?
App State.
Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Colorado.
App State as well.
App State was on the door. I took the 9. You know, the Hurricanes in their wonderful home stadium with 26,000 people. Not much of a place to play. So it was a really good day for college football. And even better when the Hokies beat
We got a W.
State.
We got a W.
Get the W. Not maybe the prettiest.
We are not enthusiastic about this W, but
No,
we
we're
will
not.
take it.
We will take it. I was a hot garbage time touchdown from nailing the spread on the money by 28, and then, we decided to put every young player in, and they almost held, but they didn't.
Yeah, I was close. I pretty much nailed what Tennessee State was going to do.
Yes, you did.
I undersold us by a field goal, so I was pretty damn close. If it was Price is Right, I hit that shit on the money.
You did hit the prices right. So, Brian, before we do anything else, let's toast the W.
Yes, sir. And guys, I'm repping Fighting Hokies here, but this is actually Sierra Nevada. So
You're right in Fighting Hokie. Stand up a little bit. Show the shirt too. You got the Fighting Hokies Lawyer shirt. I got the None But Clear Mountain Air John Laser shirt. We are truly 2021 spokespeople for the Hokies out there. So, but again, we got the W. I think if this, Brian, if I tell you the game ended 35-14, but it was 21-0 in the first half, I think everyone is viewing this game different. But it didn't happen that way.
No, the flow of the game is the problem, and kind of the overall feeling of way the first half kind of went down is the problem, not necessarily what the end result is. I think we're pretty much fine with the end result. Covered the spread, kept them at arm's length, especially the entire second half, but that first half just it didn't sit well, it didn't feel right, and it kind of got everybody in a little bit of a funk, right?
You're right. So let's jump into it. So before we jump into it, though, shout out Matt Neal. What are you drinking tonight? Thank you for saying hello and listening in.
I bet it's bourbon.
I bet it's Tito's.
Hey,
I bet it's Tito's. Tito's and some LaCroix out there. All right. So Brian has effectively labeled the Middle Tennessee State the tale of two halves.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first half, and let's start with the first play of the game, Brian. Keyshawn King, kind of in the doghouse a little bit for the fumble last week, comes out, gets it right at the goal line. He takes it. He sees a crease left. He cuts, and he goes.
Yep.
And you saw the leverage. He was going to get caught, but not before he got just about to midfield. I mean, when that happened, tell me the first thoughts in your mind. Like, it's like, okay, this is going to be a rout.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're coming out the gate hot again. This is kind of the energy that we brought to the start of the UNC game. We're going to kind of keep that going. And then the offense took the field, and it just felt different. seemed like they just couldn't get out of their own way a little bit. Did really like the way the offensive line was playing in the first half, but those first couple drives in particular looked like they just weren't quite getting the calls where they needed to be, weren't quite where they wanted to be at getting to the second level. Blankenship was making plays, did a good job of kind of running sideline to stretch some of those lateral runs out, and it was just wasn't a good start for us.
No, it was yucky. It was yucky. It looked super plain. Unlike UNC, we did not attack the edges any.
In the passing game, no.
Well, and Brian, something me and you talked about was they were a small, undersized, quick defense. Would the first play you ever ran would have been outside zone, or if you ran a little something different?
I mean, it's our bread and butter, but at the same time, it does kind of play into the strengths of what they like to do and how they like to attack the offensive line. So, it'd been nice to see something different, something similar to kind of how we came out against UNC with that little swing pass to get Blacksburg up open, get them kind of on their heels a little bit. It seemed like the plan from the get-go was kind of to keep things vanilla on both sides of the ball, and that's kind of how we came out on the offense. The calls were kind of vanilla, kind of straightforward, and unfortunately, the way we executed them reflected that.
Yeah. The way we executed it reflected. The way we executed it also looked like, again, why I did not want to be ranked is because, like, anytime we get a ranking this early in the season, it's like, I don't necessarily say it goes to the guys' heads, but it's like we lose the chip. We had a chip last Friday night. We played angry. What's up, Tally? Thanks for checking in with us tonight, man.
We got Tally. We got Billy on here.
Billy. Everybody. Well, Billy.
Appreciate you guys jumping in, hanging out with us.
Exactly. For Billy, though, Billy, you're in the West Coast, man. It's the night has just begun for you, sir. But it's the whole piece of we get it, we lose the chip, and then it takes us having a bad half to get the chip back. So the first two drives, not good. It started the game off slow. But you know what, Brian? What we saw last week with UNC, defense came to play again.
Yep. Defense came to play. Had a couple plays where they had some positive. Then we would put it back in the negative there, and then we got 2 quick 3 and outs to start the game for them. I liked the energy that the defense brought out the gate. I wish the offense would have matched that. Overall, first 2 drives ended up net 4 total 3 and outs for both sides there. So kind of a slow start on both sides offensively. And then we kind of woke up, and it was kind of a weird way that we woke up, man, because we woke up after a Braxton Burmeister scramble that resulted in a big shot on his shoulder that ended up taking Braxton back to the locker room for a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, that had to happen. And when that happened, Brian, I just, in the words of Leslie Jordan, I just sat there and I went, well, shit, that's the season.
you went full in the other ear, like, all right, we're done. It's over.
Yeah.
Stick a fork in us. I was like, no, we gotta wait on this, man.
Well,
this is still. I mean, no disrespect to Middle Tennessee, but this is still Middle Tennessee.
Hold on though, but this was just be thinking long term whole season, not just one.
Sure.
But it's also the fact that he got hit and he just laid there.
Yeah,
he kept laying there,
and we know his history with his shoulder, and we kind of know that one of the key things we want to do is try to limit those big hits. His game, he's going to take some shots, but you don't want him taking shots like that. Somebody that's on the baseball team, teach this kid to slide.
Please.
Let's do that first.
And if you don't teach him to slide, at least teach him to lead with his left shoulder, not his right shoulder. Lord have mercy.
But I mean, he's a full-on gamer though, because we had a couple good plays from Knox Kadum came in there. We got about 20 yards or so on that drive after Knox came in. Then Braxton comes back out, throws a nice little fade to Tavion Robinson in the left corner of the end zone. Good guys are up 7-0.
Exactly, good guys up 7-0. They ran that route a little bit shorter than they did last week against UNC and nailed it perfect. Something else, and it might have saved for Braxton on that drive, was there was a review for targeting.
Yep.
Because Braxton went out, he went to the tent, then they took him back. And I'm sure the tent was just make sure he wasn't concussed. But
tent was quick too, so I mean he was back in the locker room, probably quick. Shoulder pads off before they ever even got back from the review.
So this is what I think happened with that. I think they went under the tent, concussed test, cool. You know, you can get up in there, Brian, feel broken, no. And probably the next thought was, well, you've bleeped up this shoulder before. Let's get these pads off. Let's check your ranges of motion. Get him back there, pull the shoulder pads off, check the range of motion. Oh, everything looks good, feel good. Yep, let's go. He's on the sideline throwing. That targeting, the review that took like 4.5 to 5 minutes, I think that was big because it got him in and got him back out to make that touchdown pass and get the confidence up.
Yep. Because, I mean, at that point, throwing the ball, that had been a definitely struggle bus for most of the entire first quarter there. So getting him with a throw that he's comfortable with, getting that touchdown, that definitely got a little confidence going back in the offense.
Absolutely. And by the way, what needs to be said is some of his passes, you know, the downfield stuff isn't where it needs to be. But the fade routes, especially short yardage, compared to what they were last year when we saw them, have gotten significantly better.
More touch, more accurate.
Yep. And that's big.
Both of those things are – so the touch gives the receiver a chance to be where he needs to be. The accuracy, obviously – means that when it's thrown, it's not going to be a pick, and it gives the receiver a chance to come down with it inbounds.
Every time. So that is really big in my opinion. And it's great to see. All right, so defense does its job again. And then Tavion Robinson, absolutely wonderful punt return, flips the field. And, Brian, let me just say this. Between Keyshawn King and Tavion Robinson – Eddie Royal was in the booth today. Eddie and Bill here in Touchdown Tech gave me chills. But I think we have two elite return men in the country, not just in the ACC, in the country. They both have good vision. They both have good speed.
Yep.
What we saw today numerous times, you know, with a couple good kick returns and a good punt return was we flipped the field without having to do too much, just those guys being good.
Yep. And that's going to be key because I think that was definitely something that was lacking, especially on the punt side last year, is that Tay never got fully comfortable back there.
Nope.
Had a couple muffs. We ended up kind of having a rotating cast of characters as we closed out the year last year, punt return. That was more of a mitigating disaster position than it was about having any sort of positive impact on our team. And I feel like that's definitely turned into an asset, at least in the early going of the year so far.
Absolutely. He seems very comfortable back there. He's getting the opportunities to run, which is really big. All right, so that sets up the really good drive. BB has a really good scramble, which, you know, I'll have to ask you, Brian, you know, yay or nay? Did you like him still scrambling after taking that pop?
Yeah, because he's got to play his game. I don't want to see him change how he's approaching playing the quarterback position just because of one big pop. Now, I do want to see him not take unnecessary hits at the end of plays.
Okay.
So there's a difference there, right?
Yeah.
One is how you're approaching your mindset in terms of what you do with the ball. The other is how you finish the play and keep yourself safe. So you can still make those plays, and as it's closing out, you get out of bounds when you need to. You slide ahead of the contact when you need to. You make a good slide and not lead with your head and shoulder, right?
True.
Okay.
True. So you make a good slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't put yourself out there like you did the first time and get yourself absolutely killed.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't a fighting for yardage, getting the first down situation. You had the first down. You just need to get down safely, right?
Exactly.
This isn't a John Elway sticking his neck out there to get the first down.
It's not the Super Bowl, and you need this to continue the drive to go take the lead or to extend the lead.
Yep.
It's early in the game. All right. So he gets a good scramble, and we get down inside the 10-yard line, and they bring in Connor Blumrick. We get 10 yards, Blumrick up the middle, little sweep to Big Stone Gap.
Yep.
He dives for it. He just misses it, and then we take Connor Blumrick up the middle one more time, pounds it in. It's 14-0.
The return of the wild turkey. We had a little diamond formation running on that one. It was a pretty sweet thing to see.
It was
definitely shows that the gears are turning a little bit there in terms of at least getting Connor active in the offense, because I feel like that was something that we didn't really see a whole lot last week. And that's an element. That's a wrinkle that we showed this week. We didn't show a lot of wrinkles on offense this week. Getting Connor Blumrick involved in the offense was one of the few wrinkles that we did present this week.
True.
And we'll talk more about that in the second half. And I kind of like what we did in the second half even more than what we did in the first. So that's a teaser.
Exactly. But let me just digress for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
You had a similar guy the last 2 years on this team that you did not do these things with, coaching staff. And now he's out at North Dakota State. So if anything, I get more irritated because me and you we were calling for it. Like, get Quincy some packages like this.
Yep.
Get some packages like this. Because if nothing else, it makes them see something different on a goal line situation. And eventually, especially Quincy throwing those fades like last year against NC State, eventually they're going to sell out, and there's going to be just an easy slant or an easy fade route. So I'm done digressing about that, because we had a similar guy that could do the same things, and you chose not to do it.
Shout out QP for tearing it up today.
Oh, did he? Good day?
Yeah. Good day. Good day for him.
Nice. All right. Let's jump back, look at the defense again. After kind of what happened, really great start, we started to see some holes, Brian. What did you specifically see that kind of, when they gave up the touchdown on that long drive?
I saw a lot of off coverage. Corners playing about 8 to 10 off the receivers. They were mixing in some cover 6, and looks like Middle Tennessee was consistently attacking the half field side of that coverage behind the corner, in front of the safety. Corner routes, little kind of little sluggos, things like that, where they can get the ball in behind the cornerback, and linebacker didn't have enough time to get over to make the coverage there. And it happened on key downs. And I think that was what it was more frustrating, is that, we'd have good first down, second down. They'd be either 3rd and 5 or more. And then they would just keep running kind of these same route concepts that kept kind of working in the same areas of the defense. And there was a moment where it looked like Armani Chapman was a little frustrated with kind of those concepts, had a little back and forth there with Jay Ham or someone on the sideline. And, we kind of rode out the rest of that drive like that. They ended up getting a touchdown. It was a close play. We're about 1.5 inches from that being kind of a incomplete pass. It was called incomplete on the field. He got that right foot down just as he kind of secured the ball. And then, the left foot came down out, and little bit of wind out of the sails there, just because, when we got the ball back, it didn't do anything with it. Yeah, I think that was the more frustrating thing.
Well, that 3-and-out drive was frustrating in a lot of ways, because it was the first time we kind of purposely took shots down the field, right? Purposely took shots.
Yeah.
And I know
there was actually a sense of urgency. It was a 1-score game. We were getting late in the first half, so there actually feels like, okay, it's not just early going anymore. We're almost in the end of the first half, and they're still in this thing, right?
Exactly. And I think you mentioned something to me when we talked about 5 today. You said that is the first plays you should have seen. Like, this is how we should have came out immediately. Run a little, get a few yards, and then attack them because they're clearly sinking in to the line.
Yeah, I would have liked to see shots down the field like that because there were a couple plays where we were running verticals across the board. We didn't see a whole lot of those outlet routes with Blackshear where he was kind of the guy underneath that if it wasn't there, there was someone to drop it off to. We saw one time where Tay-Rob was targeted, but it was clearly Braxton was just getting rid of the ball. It was nice to see some sort of outlet route to get it into Blackshear, maybe get 5 or 6 yards, see if he can break a tackle and get a first down.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more levels to the concepts here, where we're not necessarily running 4 guys deep and there's no outlet. Run 2 deep, run something up the seam, run 1 guy on the outside deep, and then maybe work in a dig or a some sort of like play in the flats just to get the ball out if nothing's working for you. I don't like these concepts where we're just running 4 deep and there's no really other option than either throwing it deep or throwing it out of bounds.
Exactly. And I think the big piece on when you do that sort of concept is we know how risk adverse that they're teaching the quarterbacks to be about not turning the ball over.
Yep.
So you're running these concepts that essentially you're teaching them to be risk adverse and you're giving very high risk concepts versus, and we have guys that can do it, Brian. I think this is probably what frustrates us more than anything versus running Blackshear or Holston or Big Stone Gap or any of those guys, putting them out just in the flats or having them hook up 3 to 5 yards downfield. Because if someone blows coverage and forgets about those guys and you're able to make that dump down, you're running guys 20, 30 yards off.
Yeah.
There's going to be if the guy doesn't make the initial tackle, there is going to be that right there in front of those guys.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, if we're looking at kind of what we did, I'm definitely looking at it and saying, okay, well, they went full vanilla in this game. That was by design. By design, they weren't going to do anything. Yeah. Look at the UNC tape and then look at this tape.
True.
The concepts are significantly less unique.
You're right.
Less inventive. There was not. Zero throwbacks. There was and
no screens, no outside bubbles, no.
There was none of that. So keep that in mind when you're evaluating what this offense did today. By no means am I happy with the outcome, but at the same time, I recognize that by design, this was supposed to be vanilla. The only difference is Middle Tennessee did a fairly decent job of stopping vanilla.
Exactly. By the way, folks, if you see me and Brian's head or eyes move, we're watching Pac-12 After Dark. We made some things on one of these games. And that's why we just run this live late night. We're going to be up anyway, watching the late night games and, showing our love for college football. So you'll see our eyes move. Kevin Slovis just slid perfectly, and then he did a Braxton slide. I don't know what would frustrate me more if Braxton did that, like perfectly slide, and then the next one looked like an awkward giraffe going down. All right, So Brian, one more thing before we hit a break here. Under 90 seconds left, the ball's at like the 4-yard line. We finally get aggressive. Tell me your frustration when that started happening.
So I'm not frustrated that we did it in this game. I'm frustrated that we did it in this game with 1:16 left inside our own 10-yard line, starting the drive, when we didn't do that against UNC with more time and better field position.
Can you explain that?
That's that's my beef. I get that. I'll say this. We needed to show after the couple drives we had before that we could still move the ball consistently against that defense, just the mental So I think some of that played a role.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you're going to be conservative or aggressive situationally, I would prefer it to be a little more predictable. And I'm not saying predictable from the defense knows it's coming too, but you know, if you're going to be aggressive in those situations, be aggressive or no. But it was kind of weird that you get different treatment here. I get there's less stakes here, so
Yeah, it's 14-7. It's
well, you have the
overall
same roughly the same lead, right? But you're playing what you consider a lesser opponent, so you feel like the stakes are lower, right?
stakes are low. You feel like if you make a mistake, they're not going to take advantage of it, especially the way the defense had played the 85% of the first quarter. So
yeah,
get it completely. All right, guys. Before we do get into the second half, we are going to take a quick pause for a message from our digital partners. All right, Brian. Let's start second half, and Middle Tennessee State comes out and probably has their second best drive of the game to open it up. And what they showed, and I hope that J.C. Price and Bill Karolnik,
sorry, didn't mean to throw you off there. So
yeah, you threw me off. I saw two questions come up, and they went away real quick.
Yeah, so Neil's asking that if our passing game is based on smoke and mirrors and misdirection, why do we decide to go vanilla against anyone? I mean, you got West Virginia. You got a big game coming up. Maybe they don't want to put some of this stuff on tape. But my beef with that is that you already put some of it on tape against UNC. I'd rather you throw the kitchen sink out there and make West Virginia have to pick and choose how they're going to prepare against you than go full vanilla. But you still got some tape from UNC that they can fall back on.
That's a good point.
I'll let you continue into the second half, sir.
Well, I'm gonna just follow up on that. It makes perfect sense, right? Like it makes perfect sense. You've already shown it. Why not continue to let the guys execute the plays on the field against live competition? Again, I think you said it before. Sometimes this coaching staff outsmarts themselves, and it gets us in trouble. I think the game today, we'll throw back to everybody 2019. The game today could have been Furman back in 2019. It could have been. But I think we have a much, much better leadership group between guys like Brock, Leticus, Shamari Connor, Dax, Jordan Williams, and Jermaine Waller. You have more guys who can hold everybody together, where games like Furman, when things weren't going right, it was just like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And it wasn't good.
Yeah, leadership-wise, this is closer to the 2016 and 17 edition of the Hokies. And hopefully that carries forward in games like this where we aren't quite firing on all cylinders. We've got that leadership to fall back on, where we don't let a couple of negative plays, whether offense or defense, turn into 2 or 3 touchdowns that end up costing us the game.
Exactly. All right, so now let's go to it. Middle Tennessee State out of the half, as I said a couple minutes ago, had a really good drive to come out of the half and kind of show something I hope Bill Tierlnick and that I hope J.C. Price are showing the defensive line. The big play on that drive was a little throwback screen, essentially taking advantage of our aggressiveness on the defensive line. Brian, I know it was Middle Tennessee State, but I know plays like that are things as an offensive lineman you love, as an offensive guy you love.
Yeah, and I mean, the concept was great. I saw it coming before it happened. I was like, they gave a completely free rush to Barno. Something's coming. That's not by design. And then all of a sudden, you see the guy come out the other side of the formation. You see the throwback from Hockman over there to him, and it ended up being about 35-yard gain, I think, on that play.
Huge gain. I mean, a really huge gain. And luckily they get down to about the 30, and instead of going for it, regardless of down and distance, they chose to punt, and they pinned us deep. And I'm not saying, I mean, it's 14-7, so you get it. But I also, why is it not in the back of their mind? We scored one time on them. We had to go out of our normal pattern to score a touchdown. Every other time we touched the ball, we did little to nothing. Why aren't we taking advantage of this?
But you essentially think they might be in empty the clip mode, right?
Exactly. I would be.
You would think, given the scenario you're in, how close the score is, you empty the clip.
But they didn't.
And they didn't. They decided to play it conservative. They thought their defense could keep them around. And our offense came out a little bit more mojo in the second half.
Yes, they did. Significantly.
And it started with I know we broke it down a little bit. They broke it down really good actually in the broadcast. The big ball to Trey that kind of set up everything there. Looks like Blankenship decided he was going to kind of freewheel a little bit. He wanted to jump under the route, gave a signal to the safety. Safety didn't quite get it, thought he had inside leverage, inside help. He did not. Trey had a free release up the seam. Ball was a little underthrown. And if it was a perfect ball, Trey probably walks in.
It wasn't.
But I will take an underthrow over an overthrow. Anybody that saw the Tennessee first half can definitely understand exactly what I'm talking about. And it wasn't just the one wide open one, but it was several others that were overthrown.
There were 5 overthrows where, like, one was completely wide open, which was terrible. Yeah. 2 of the other 3, if he had even underthrown a little bit, they have a chance to catch the ball. At worst, it's a PI.
Yeah.
At least in this situation, the way I think the way we talked about it, felt about Brian is this. Okay. If there's tight coverage, you must overthrow. You must. You just have to. It's the safest play. If the guy gets there and catches it, wonderful. In this case, when BB looked, there was no one there. Okay to underthrow that.
Yep.
Okay. Do I want to see him hit in stride? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Because you hit him in stride, it makes every single defender on that side of the ball, especially in the secondary, say, okay, we've got to stay further back, which with what we do opens it up more. Now, as beautiful as that was, the play that scored the touchdown on this drive, Brian, had Jalen Holston looking like Khalil Herbert with that cut, because that cut was nasty.
That was the best cut of Jalen Holston's career that I've seen. Foot in the dirt and kind of weaved between 2 defenders that were engaged in a block, and then boom, up the field.
29 yards.
As your shirt says there, nothing but clean mountain air.
Oh, yeah. Nothing but clean mountain air, touchdown, and right there, it's 28. The game's over. Effectively right there, the game is over.
We've put enough distance between them.
That's 21-7. The game's at 21-7. The game's over because they're already playing surrender Cobra. They can't hit their deep shots to get touchdowns. They're getting deep shots just to move the ball. And the defense, after that initial open drive, just tightened up a little bit, Brian.
Defense started playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage at the cornerback position. And there was less room for those guys to kind of get to their spot in their routes. And the slower they get to their spot, the more the defense can react in that zone coverage, right?
True. But do you like it that we're playing that? We're essentially giving them some easier throws. Do you like that we're playing that cover 6, that soft quarters in a 21-7 game? Because the game's it's not over quite yet, but you feel like we have control.
Well, I mean, the reason I like it is because what happens next. So Waller in a good position, undercuts the route. He knows he's got help behind him, and all of a sudden, gets the pick, runs it back for about 25 yards. We're sitting pretty again, right? We're ready to punch it in one more time.
We are. So I think what you're kind of saying here is 2-score lead. You're doing this. eventually they're going to get to a point when we're sending these zones, there's going to be no free run because there's going to be nowhere to go. And essentially,
and I mean, I think we do need to do a better job of mixing up coverages and key downs like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. I mean, we can't be playing 8-9 yards off the ball. We're inviting first downs. We're essentially saying you've got to react exactly right to stop the first down, right?
All right.
Okay, so we need to. I think we need to mix it up again. But I think even looking at the defense, the calls were vanilla tonight. There was a couple zone blitzes here and there, but there was nothing that was put on tape that said, okay. I mean, we didn't see the stunts that we saw against UNC. We didn't see any of that stuff.
No, we saw very, very basic. And, I'll go later on into how they ran the ball, which wasn't very well. So Jermaine intercepts the ball. We're on the right side of the field after his interception. And then, what we have next goes on. It was BB's big scramble. And then Blacksburg.
He did a good job. So he stepped up. He saw that it wasn't there, took off up the field, made a couple guys miss. And that was a big run. And then, Blackshear kind of took over the back half of that drive, had a good run that set us up in the red zone, then closed it out. So it was really probably in terms of fluidity, kind of the most fluid drive we had.
Yeah.
It was one of those quick punches there. And at that point you kind of felt like, all right, this game has been put in hand. We're comfortable again. We're doing what we want to do on offense. We're shutting them down on defense a little bit. You kind of felt good about where it was heading there. Still would like to see the offense be a little more consistent with some of their plays, because we kind of got back into some of that later in the game. But overall, I'm happy with the way the second half went offensively.
Well, let me ask you this. Raheem Blackshear, 10 rushes, 53 yards. Didn't see him much in the pass game tonight. How did you feel about his day in general?
Day in general, really good. Anytime he's over 5 yards a carry is a good game for him. I like that he had 10 carries. I'd like to see him get about 10 carries every game. I'd like to see him used a lot more than the one catch for 5 yards. He needs to at least get 5 targets a game minimum.
Are you still? I guess now it is what it is. Like, we're not going to see him come out of diamond. We're not going to see Holston him on the field at the same time yet. Maybe that's in the cards for the next game. That's something they've never seen. But it still feels like we're not – last week it felt like we took advantage of his whole arsenal. Yeah. Today, again, with a vanilla game plan, you don't. And I don't like that because of this. You're going to play another team. If you take away the actual live situations where he's running the wheels or the flats, or you're running some screens to him or doing some other things to him, all you have ever done is put him in the situations behind practice. Yeah. Not in live games. And
I'm with that.
You let him do it in a live game. You saw him get 60-plus receiving yards against UNC.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I would like to see him get more opportunities in any game, because any game against live competition is better than any simulation in practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would prefer to see is a little bit more. You don't have to show anything you haven't already shown on tape, but you need to at least keep those elements in your offense, right?
Yes.
Like you've already shown against UNC, it's already on tape against a quality opponent.
Run similar plays.
Yeah.
Run the same thing. But again, it's. I think this is why we always are critical of the offensive staff, is because some of these designs are just like, you can show this 30 times.
Yeah.
And you can even say, and again, look how he was schemed open last week. Scheming somebody open is going to consistently happen, because the second that they decide to move that linebacker to the flats, what you're doing is you're opening up a slant route.
Yeah.
And you open up the slant route where if that defender doesn't play perfectly and he puts it on the money to Trey or Tay, and that other linebacker, the weak side linebacker is out of place, it's going to be the strong safety or the free safety's job to come down and take him out. And if they don't take him out, it's air. So it's like, why are you outsmarting yourself?
Yeah, like I said, and they made a point there with when Neil brought it in there. A lot of what we do is misdirection. A lot of what we do is getting our playmakers in space so they can make guys miss. When you take away those elements, our offense is very pedestrian because we're not a, especially this year coming off of last year, we're not a just line up and run it down your throat offense this year. That's not our game. And when you go vanilla and you don't have that, it shows real quick. And I think that's what we saw in this game.
True. We have a more diverse offense than we did last year. We don't have quite maybe the home run potential because of the way Khalil Herbert could run.
Yep.
We have a more diverse offense to get the ball down the field in numerous ways, which we need to take full advantage of.
We need to be better at matriculating. Like, I like big plays as much as anybody else. I like the excitement of a big play. I don't think this offense is going to be an exciting offense to watch, but I think it could be a very efficient offense if we do the things that we're talking about.
Very true. All right, Brian. Let's go. Last drive. Tay Robinson gets a big 26-yard haul, sets up Connor Blumrick coming in, 30-yard run. I think Connor Blumrick might be officially part of this offense in packages now after we see him multiple times today, not seeing him last week. And then Blackshear caps it in with the second touchdown of the day. It's 28-7. The game's over. It's just another good drive to get people feeling good.
Well, that made it actually 35-7 at that point. Yep.
35-7. That made it 35-7.
Yep.
So I'm looking up here. Stanford just should request to open with USC every year. No one else. I mean, it's like 24-7 or 24-10. We definitely on the wrong side of that one. Stanford gets up for USC. All right, let's move on, Brian.
So let's talk about Connor though, because Connor got in there, H-back sweep, took it to the 1 yard line. Things like that are what we talked about. We thought Connor might end up doing in this offense outside of, the short yardage, heavy back set, like the wild turkey, that type of formation. Yeah. And that's what we want to see. I mean, he is an athletic player. He is a little bit more of a athlete than kind of the other guys on the line there, except Mitchell may be the one exception that has that degree of athleticism. I don't think Mitchell quite has the top end that Blumrick can get to. And he's designed to be a little bit more shifty because he has played that quarterback position, has played H-back for A&M before. So getting him involved is going to be good. I like that we at least saw what he could do, even though we didn't see him throw the ball. Mm-hmm. And I like that Knox got a couple drives there at the end. I know we've wrapped up the scoring here, but Knox got out there again after having that half a drive when Braxton went down. He got 2 more drives late. Showed again that he's capable of getting the ball down the field a little bit. Showed a little bit of his athleticism. Yeah,
he did.
I don't think he doesn't have he doesn't have Braxton level athleticism, but he can make a guy miss and get a first down when he needs to.
Yeah, he's one of those on schedule guys. You think about where he played down in Georgia. That was the Trevor Lawrence division, and he was like right on the heels. And then they won the state title the year after Trevor went. So obviously he was from a really good football background. But I think just the kind of the ending of the fourth quarter, you had some younger offensive guys get out there. You had younger defensive guys get out there. We talked about needing to look at the depth. That happened. I wish it would have happened more mid-third, not more into the fourth, but that is what it is because of our digressions in the first half. So,
Brian, we let them hang around for too long to really get any substantive snaps out there. But it was nice to get something there at the end, even though the garbage time was a lot more protracted than we wanted it to be.
Yeah, 100%, Brian. Now, Brian, before we close with our final thoughts here. Um, Yesterday, because it is 9/12 now. Yesterday was 9/11 in the 20th anniversary, and it's probably the honest truth, Brian. In our lifetimes, it is probably the most earth changing, life changing event that's happened to us. I was 18, you were
Yep.
17.
Yep. And
Um,
I mean, a lot of things, it changed a lot in real time, and it changed a
yeah,
lot of how, the
live.
next decade or two, how our day to day changed. So
True.
there's definitely been, serious ramifications from that moment. And, I think that's one thing that we kind of miss a little bit is that, regardless of how we're feeling, politically or socially or all that stuff, there was a moment in time there where we were kind of we felt united. We felt like we were on the same ground.
Absolutely.
Everybody had come together in response to that, and it'd be nice to get a little bit of that back. So,
Yeah,
but it was a
absolutely.
sad day. It was sad to feel attacked in a way that targeted civilians and not military assets. And I think that was the big thing for us.
It's absolutely right. So for thinking about it, for everyone that lost their lives that day, whether in New York at the towers, at the Pentagon, or on Flight 93 that went down in Pennsylvania, and then for all the military in the subsequent years that essentially lost their lives, a tip of the hat and a big thank you,
Yep.
because it was the changing event of our lifetimes, and it's been 20 years. And for some of y'all who are listening tonight, y'all were kids. We weren't. We were on the precipice. We were adults. We essentially were adults. And
I had football practice after this happened that day, and that was a different type of experience. A lot of talking about things that were happening and those ramifications and kind of what the future was going to show for us, and how the next few weeks were going to go. And again, I was in Halifax County. I was more or
small.
less removed from the actual events themselves, and they still had that degree of impact on the day to day life. And I can only imagine what the folks that lived through that in real time in New York, in DC, and on Flight 93. I can only imagine what that was like for them. So still a sad day of remembrance, and something that we'll never forget in our lifetime.
Not at all. All right, so folks, we're going to go back to the football now and kind of hit our closing thoughts from today's game, the beta version. And I'm going to hit you with some stats, Brian, and then I want some of your philosophical thoughts here. All right, things I like for the day, Brian. We were over
Okay.
we were over 50% converting third downs. This team, that must be consistent. We were
Yep.
right at 50% last week. 5.7 per rush. If we rush 5.7 per rush every game this year, we are going to win a lot of games. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Because if we're going to run the ball anywhere between 30 and 40 times a game like we did today, we're going to get 200 plus yards. All right. The things I didn't like, or one more thing I did like, 0 turnovers. We
Yep.
play clean games. We're going to be in every games, or against lesser opponents like this, we are going to essentially run away from them.
Yep.
What I didn't like, we have to clean up the first halves. We have to clean up, and every time we get the ball, we must take advantage. There cannot be 3 and outs. There can be non-scoring drives, but there cannot be 3 and outs where, like in Keyshawn King's case, when we get a 3 and out, we're at midfield. You are roughly 25 yards from putting points on the board. We
Yep.
cannot let that happen. And then the other thing is the passing game. We've got to kind of look at what Braxton does best and take advantage of it. So, sir, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on some of this stuff?
So my first thing is this. You talked about yards per carry. I'm okay with what we did in the running game. I think we needed to be more consistent with how we rush the ball, um, and get to the next level. So I'm going to go a little bit of criticism here on the offensive line. The offensive line is what I had the biggest problem with in the first half, and it was poor pass pro, poor blitz pickup, and a poor job on combo blocks in the zone game of getting to the second level. We would more or less manage their defensive line, but then their linebackers would come up and make the play. 2 yard, 3 yard gain. We can't make our entire gain go off a 2 or 3 yard gain. So, got to be more consistent about getting to the second level. When we did get past that second level, we hit some pretty good plays, both in the scramble drill and a couple of those, lineup running plays, and especially some of the jet sweeps. So we did a pretty good job total of getting yardage, and those big gains offset the negative plays. I want us to be more consistent, especially in the first half, right?
Yes.
Second thing, we need to get something going in the passing game consistently, because we did a really good job of peppering in the short passing game against UNC, especially in the first half. And I didn't see hardly any of that in this game. And I know, again, I know they were going vanilla here, but that doesn't mean you go away from what's working for you, right?
It's true. It's true.
So that was frustrating. And on defense, I want to see J-Ham be a little bit quicker with the trigger on adjusting those coverages when he sees that they're clearly taking advantage of the off man and some of the cover six philosophies that he was going with for an extended period of time there, because they were just working it behind the corner in front of the safety every time there was a key down, and we couldn't stop it.
And on defense, Brian, we gave up some big plays tonight. I think we can live with that. I think our pass rush is good enough. I do. I think the pass rush is good enough. Listen, you guys want to take 5 and 7-step drops against Tywan Garbutt, Jordan Williams, Pollard, Kendricks, Fuga, Barno, Griffin? Go for it. You're going to pay, whether you actually get sacked or they're right there and bearing down on you. So that's fine. But we have to be careful with it as we get into games against better defenses, because those big plays are going to kill us.
What I will compliment, I'm going to compliment real quick.
Okay.
We did a good job of when there was that big play of, as Ted Lasso likes to say, be like a goldfish. We forgot about it. We moved on. We played the next play, right? So that's what you like to see. We didn't let one bad play turn into 5 that turned into scores consistently.
Yep. The other thing I noticed, 9 of 19 on third and fourth down, almost 50%. Cannot do that.
Especially how bad they were against Monmouth on third down. Like,
yes, they were terrible.
I will caveat here. Okay. So I was just talking about the one scoring drive they had in the second quarter. Almost half of those third down conversions occurred on that one drive.
All right, so we take that drive out. Never mind. So
it's more like 40% conversion versus 65% conversion.
Yes, well, right at 50% conversion.
Okay.
All right. The good 12 negative plays, 3 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. I thought we'd have more, but clearly they were playing the underneath game. They were trying to hit them quick. But anytime last week we were at 25%. I'd love to see the rush ratio, the quarterback hit ratio as well. But if you're 20% of getting a play in the backfield, that's 1 out of 1 every 5 plays. That is a good thing. As long as we stay between that 20, I'm going to hope there's a game where we're 30%. Maybe it's next week and I get to be wrong about something. Brian, you were not happy about the number of yards they got. You're upset. Brian wanted less than 50. Brian, they were at 1.8 per carry.
They had 66 total yards rushing. I wanted under 50. I'll allow it. So, I mean, good job overall by the defensive line. Linebackers
Yeah.
played well. Tisdale had a really good game. Dax
Again,
Hollifield had a solid game. We
again,
consistently on third down went true nickel, though.
love it. That's it. I mean,
Dax was running off more often than not on third down. Unless it was third and short, he was coming off if we could sub.
We've got that sub package going in with 3 really good defensive backs. Now, Brian, the one last thing, there are going to be people looking and saying, we gave over 300 yards to this offense. Do not count the last 86 yards. That was literally all of our freshmen. And that wasn't even too deep, Brian. That was like 3 and 40 out there.
You can count those yards, but you need to put it in context and understand that this was garbage time, right?
So if you take that out, 260 yards of total offense.
Yeah. I'd like to see under 250, but, you know.
All right, Brian.
I have high expectations.
All right, Brian. Here's the deal, man.
Yep.
I'm looking at our picks. We actually had a good week.
Okay, a good week. Tell me about it.
You can go no worse than 500.
Okay, I'll take that.
No worse.
That means you're not making much ground on me.
I'm not. Actually, I went 7-3. I can go 7-3.
So you might catch me.
Let's see.
Or be one game back.
No. I'm not going to be one game back because I started off so bad. That's going to take a little while. But here's what we got, folks. Illinois UVA. Brian got that right.
Damn.
I still don't think UVA is a good team. I actually went back and looked at Pick Six previews and read some more stuff on Illinois. That damn Nebraska game was a fucking anomaly. They are really bad.
That was the outlier.
I watched some of that game early and there was just like no one near UVA players, and it's like I looked at some of Brendan Armstrong's passes, they're ducks. If he goes and throws those next week against Grimes and Storm Duck, they're going to have 4+ turnovers. Easy. So Brian got that one right. I missed on that one. Tennessee Pitt. I got that one right, Brian. I took Pitt.
I came close, man. I called the hooker coming in and almost getting the comeback. I didn't quite finish it, though.
Hooker's now the quarterback of Tennessee.
Yep.
Hooker's now the quarterback of Tennessee. There's not even a question about it.
He looked more fluid in that offense. He was more consistent with throwing the ball. Again, I know I talked about it earlier, but Milton trying to throw anything further than 15 yards overshot every time. Every time. Like, you would think, I mean, if this would be one thing if there was tight coverage every time and all this, but he had 3 of those. His guys were either wide open or had 2 steps on the corner.
Exactly.
Like you can't consistently miss those.
Exactly. All right, Rutgers, Syracuse. We both took Rutgers laying the 2.5. That was an ugly game. Syracuse was really in it till the end. Babers has them fighting. I just don't think there's the talent there, and it showed today that the way Rutgers has recruited the last couple of years with Shiano. Ooh, that was a nasty burp. That's the Papa John's. But the way when they start playing the talented teams, even if they have the perfect game plan, they execute great. Eventually, in the fourth quarter, the gas is going to run out. Milton is pathetic. TOOSM, yes, very pathetic. We both got that one right. NC State, we both missed on. And it's not so much the defense. I think we expected Mike Leach to get some points on them, but they couldn't run the ball against that defense.
Yeah, that was shocking. It took them – I mean, they never really got the running game going. Leary was having to carry that offense, and he didn't do a bad job, but he just didn't have a whole lot of help. And, that was problematic. They really kind of got behind, and you can't really fall behind against a team that can do things offensively. And the defense for Mississippi State showed that they can run with a pretty decent offense. So NC State going down is definitely kind of my I don't call it an upset of the week.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say something else. Don't say what you said to me off air. We're not saying that yet.
No, we're not saying that at all.
Don't say it.
But NC State going down definitely was kind of the shocker for me of the weekend in terms of teams I thought were going to kind of handle their business that didn't.
Yeah. So it's sort of shocking to see that, but kind of is what it is. All right, so we both missed on that one. App State, Miami. Told you, Brian. Hangover game. Hangover.
Yeah, Miami is officially not my pick to win the Coastal.
Uh-oh.
I've soured on the Canes, and it only took 2 weeks.
Only took a couple weeks, but I got that one right. Brian swung on it. We nailed the game of the day. Nailed the game of the day. Iowa goes into Iowa State, goes into Ames, and handles business.
Ames has clean water, but they also took an L today.
They took a big L today. You know what? I think Matt Campbell's probably found his home for the next 15 years.
Okay.
Now, I say that in 2 weeks he's going to beat Oklahoma by like 20. He's the best coach in the country. Texas, not back.
Not back.
We both swung and missed on that one.
Swung and missed big time.
Terribly on that one. But we got Michigan right. Michigan
nailed Michigan. Michigan definitely Michigan without any expectations is a different team.
No, it's not Michigan. It's Jim Harbaugh with no expectations. Harbaugh with no expectations at Stanford. Look what they did.
Yeah.
Great, right? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even when they were doing okay, people still were writing them off. Harbaugh, when he went to San Francisco after 6 and 10 years, there were no expectations, right? None. 13-3, 2 Kyle Williams fumbles from punching a ticket to the Super Bowl. So when there's no expectations on Harbaugh, I think he just coaches looser. All right, but we got that one right. And then the big game of the day, I thought Ohio State would then without Kayvon Thibodeau. But Anthony Brown, we talked about it earlier, handles business. We nailed that one. Oregon wins outright, so our 14.5 easily lays there. And I tell you what, it's really interesting to see just the playoff picture at the moment.
Yeah.
For real, it's really interesting because you have, you feel like right now is the 2 SEC teams guaranteed with Georgia and Bama. Don't know yet. We don't. It's too early.
We don't. It's too early. But I mean, if you're using the sample size we have and projecting that out over 12 games, then the answer is yes.
True. Because right now, the Big Ten could be left out. The ACC could be left out. And, that would get things super interesting.
Yeah.
I also think
honestly, other than Oregon,
you got SC. You got SC out there. They're down 14 right now to Stanford.
So I was more saying, like, other than Oregon, has any other non-SEC teams really looked impressive? Teams that are in position to make the playoff that you thought were in position to make the playoff.
Well,
you got Georgia and Bama, and you got Oregon. Has anyone else looked impressive through 2 weeks?
Not really, because Notre Dame did not look impressive today. They were borderline about to lose to Toledo. So who knows? And obviously, so that gets us Brian 5-4. I'm 6-3 at the moment. If Stanford covers, we're both going to finish above 500. But Stanford covering also, I think we got that in the bag because I don't think I can see USC scoring 32 unanswered.
No.
I think Stanford will find it in some way. So, I'm going to get a few games back after starting absolutely terribly this year.
Yeah, my week 2 went a whole lot better than my week 1, and my week 1 was close to 500. So I think this should put me above 500 altogether if Stanford ends up finishing how we think. Or I'll be pretty damn close to it.
You will be at 500.
At 500, okay. I'll take it.
You'll be at 500. Yeah, we're probably going to be up another hour or so.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if I get to 500, then you guys can officially say that I'm just as good as flipping a quarter when it comes to betting on these games.
We got to go back and look at our combined picks here. Rutgers 1-0, then 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. We could go 5-2 combined, same picks.
Okay.
Might be finding something where you like the same game. Bet on it, guys. Has anything else popped up, Hokie Nation? I think we got out of this game unscathed, no injuries.
Yeah, we had a couple scares.
Yes.
We had Mitchell with a nick. We had obviously Braxton went back, and then we had what was it? Griffin had that scare coming off of the edge one time. But I think overall, nothing ended up being something that was going to keep guys from significant time. Hopefully, Keonta Jenkins gets his foot right. He'll be ready for next week.
Yeah, I think it's good to set him out this week. I think it's good with Tay. Brian, there is one thing we missed. Florida State loses to Jacksonville State.
I was actually about to mention that because I saw that pop up in my feed here.
After playing out of their minds against Notre Dame.
Although seeing what Notre Dame did today, I'm not sure that this is necessarily a Notre Dame team to really talk about. Is what Notre Dame did to Florida State, is that going to kind of be what happened to us in 2018?
Well, I think they're playing Wisconsin next week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll learn some new things about them next week. I don't think the first 2 weeks we really know a whole lot about them. I think we know that their offensive line is very much average this year. And
they've got Purdue next week.
Okay.
And Purdue is 2-0, but they have played Oregon State and Connecticut. Purdue beat Connecticut today 49-0.
That's not going to be any game that they can overlook. I mean, Purdue's probably not the greatest team out there, but they will show up and they will give you hell for 4 quarters. So
pretty much, man.
If they come in there and start like they have the last couple weeks, they could take the L there. Cone showed some mettle today in the way he finished that game.
Yeah,
but their defense isn't what it was last year, and their offense, because of the offensive line, I mean, they had to find inventive ways to get Tyree the ball in space where he could make some plays, because they're not a team that can just line up and run it down your throat anymore.
Yeah, I think the defense, they're still good up front on the line, but I think not having a or Jeremiah, I'm just going to say that second level is where they're missing it, because I don't think those guys have grown into the position of what they need to be in that defense. And I think even more so with the new defensive coordinator and Marcus Freeman. Certain people out there love Marcus Freeman, and he is not doing great to begin with. All right, anything else breaking, Brian? NFL tomorrow.
Yeah, boys, we kick it off tomorrow. Looking forward to see what the Colts can do against the Seahawks. I know Curtis wants us to get the W, so that's what matters.
Get the dub, please. I'll be probably listening. I got a bunch of errands to do tomorrow. I'm going to probably be listening to the Niners game from the San Fran affiliate as I mow my grass tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah. Well, Brian, if nothing else, let's sign off here. Let's watch the end of the Holy War where BYU just got like a 9-yard tackle for loss on like an inside handoff.
Yep.
That was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
That was the most slow developing handoff I've ever seen, and BYU just blew it up.
That makes Brian Stein Springs look impressive. Arizona State in a dogfight with UNLV, and USC had to make the comeback. So I'm going to sign it off, Brian. That wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Visit our website, boundarycornerbt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe on our YouTube account and your favorite podcast source, including Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. If you're looking to join the Hokie Club and help achieve the Reach for Excellence campaign, please visit boundarycornerbt.com/giving to get started. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long play us in. Catch him on Spotify and Apple Music. We thank you for listening, and let's go.
Hokies!